Entry number 003. The Case of the Somerton Man. Status: unresolved. Adelaide, Australia, 1948. A city shaking off the shadows of a world war, looking for a peace that didn't quite feel real yet. At 6:30 a.m., the sun began to peel back the darkness on Somerton Beach, but it revealed something the tide didn't bring in, and the shore didn't want to keep. A man, resting against the seawall as if he were simply watching the horizon. His legs extended, his feet crossed, a half-smoked cigarette resting on the collar of his coat. He looked peaceful, but peace doesn't leave a body stone cold in the sand. The detectives from Adelaide Station didn't find a wallet. They didn't find a passport, no ID, no coins. What they found was a ghost dressed in high-end threads. He wore a white shirt, a red and white tie, and a double-breasted jacket of distinct American tailoring. But here's where the logic starts to fracture. Every single label gone. Meticulously cut away with a steady hand. Not just the brand names, but the laundry marks. Even the tags on his singlet and his socks had been excised. Someone had scrubbed this man of his history before he ever hit the sand. He wasn't just dead, he was unmade. The autopsy only deepened the shadow. This wasn't a drifter. He was in peak physical condition. 40-odd years old, broad shoulders, mousy ginger hair. But his body told a stranger story than his clothes. His calf muscles were high and pronounced. His toes were wedged into a distinct point. The coroner noted he had the feet of a professional ballet dancer, or someone who spent a lifetime in pointed boots. His spleen was 3 times the normal size. His stomach was filled with blood. The experts whispered of poisons that leave no trace. Digitalis, strophanthin, chemicals that kill the heart and vanish like smoke in a breeze. He was a man of high-end tastes and physical discipline, dying in the dirt with no name. The case went cold for months. The suit, the shoes, the ballet feet, they led to dead ends, until the clothes were searched one last time. Tucked deep inside a secret pocket, a watch fob pocket sewn into the lining of his trousers, investigators found a tiny rolled-up scrap of paper. It didn't have a name, it didn't have a map. It had 2 words torn from the final page of a 12th century Persian book of poetry. Tamam, Shud. It is finished. The scrap of paper, Tamam, Shud, wasn't just a poetic flourish. It was a fragment of a larger puzzle. Months later, a man walked into the Adelaide police station with the book it was torn from, a rare copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, tossed into the back of his car through an open window on the night the stranger died. But it's what was scrawled on the back cover that turned a suicide investigation into a ghost hunt. 5 lines of jumbled capital letters, a code that has broken the best minds in cryptology for nearly 80 years. Modern analysis from the University of Adelaide suggests these aren't random. They are likely English initialisms, the first letters of words in a sentence. A hidden message, perhaps a final letter or a set of instructions locked behind a cipher only the dead man knew how to read. Next to that code was a phone number, an unlisted number belonging to a young nurse named Jessica Thompson, known to history only as Jestyn. She lived just a short walk from where the body was found. The police didn't just call her, they brought her to the station. They showed her the plaster death mask of the man from the beach. Witnesses say she nearly fainted. She looked at that face, and her eyes went cold, with a recognition she refused to vocalize. She claimed she'd never seen him. She claimed she didn't know why her number was in his book. But her body told the truth. She was too terrified to speak. The detectives thought they had their man when they found another copy of the same book, given by Jestyn to a man named Alf Boxall in 1945. They expected a second corpse. Instead, they found Boxall alive, well, and still in possession of the book, intact, with no pages torn. 2 men, 2 books, 1 woman at the center of a web that looked more like an intelligence operation than a tragic romance.
Decades passed. Jestyn took her secrets to the grave, but the biology she left behind didn't. Her son, Robin, shared 2 extremely rare physical anomalies with the Somerton Man: a specific shape of the ear, the Simba, and missing lateral incisors, traits that occur in less than 2% of the population. Was this just a coincidence? Or was the Somerton Man more than a stranger to Jestyn? Was he a father, returning home to a family that could never acknowledge his existence? For 74 years, he was a ghost, a plastered death mask staring back at logic, defying identification. But in 2022, the digital age cracked the tomb that history had sealed. Professor Derek Abbott of the University of Adelaide used groundbreaking forensic genealogy to find the needle in a DNA haystack. The sequence didn't just match a database, it matched a family tree. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Carl Webb. Born in Footscray, Victoria in 1905, he was an electrical engineer. He liked poetry. He had a wife named Dorothy who described him as a moody man who kept to himself. And that name that plagued detectives, the Keen written on his tie and vest, it wasn't a clue for his identity. Carl's sister, Frida, was married to a Thomas Keen. He was wearing his brother-in-law's hand-me-downs. The mystery was solved. Or was it? We stand now in 2026, 4 years after that announcement. If this case is closed, someone forgot to tell the South Australian police. While they remain cautiously optimistic about Abbott's findings, they have still not officially signed off on Carl Webb. The whisper among skeptics is that the DNA extracted from the hair samples was degraded, fragmented. Enough for a strong statistical probability, perhaps, but maybe not enough for legal certainty. And what about the physical traits that bound him so tightly to Jestyn's family? The Simba ear, the missing incisors? If Carl Webb wasn't Robin's father, if Jestyn's reaction to the death mask was just an actor's trick, why does the physical mirror refuse to crack? We are told the DNA doesn't lie, but these bodies refuse to tell the same story. Giving him a name didn't give him peace. Carl Webb, if it is him, remains alone on that beach. We know who he was. We still don't know why he was there. We don't know why his clothes were unmade, why he was poisoned, why he carried a cryptic message from a poet 800 years dead. Identifying the body isn't the same as solving the crime. We set out on this journey to find a name. We found one. But I have to ask, if we finally have his name, why does it feel like we're further from the truth than ever before? Leave your theories in the comments. This ledger is still open. While Carl Webb's code remains unbroken, he isn't the only one to leave behind an impossible cipher. Click here to see why the Beale treasure might be the greatest hoax in history.